Hey guys, VaulSC here. How's it all going? Last week I was at the previous weekend I was at the tournament. So the last week I've been spending all my time on YouTube doing bat reps for that event. But now I can come back to the Yuandun closed battle lists for Imperial Service, which came out while I was in battle rep mode. So I can sort of go back a bit. I know these lists aren't really new to you guys at this very exact moment in time, but I've got some catching up to do, so I figured I may as well come back and sort of talk about each of the new closed battle lists that have been released for Imperial Services. So, for those of you who maybe don't know, Corvus Belli, the designers of this game, have decided that what they'll do is they'll just sort of pick a faction each time, and every time they sort of decide to do the CBL thing, they're going to pick a faction and give that faction just a series of pre-made lists, which they can take to infiNity tournaments, like ITS tournaments. The idea has generally been to tie it in with the campaigns of the background a little bit, but you know that I'm not your guy for that kind of thing. I'm not the guy that sort of really follows the fluff and the campaign side of things. I hate their campaigns. I kind of hate the way that they do a lot of their fluff as well. But let's get back on topic. These are playable closed battle lists. These are playable lists which you can play if you're a Imperial Service player. So previously it was Hispano-Oceania, right? So they came up with these lists you could run where I think some of them were only like 8 or 9 orders, and they were very similar to basic Pano lists, except in some of them you could take like Saito Tugan or something like that. But they were generally quite weak, just because here we go here. So for example, they had like a Nis sniper Haris team and a Jotun, and I mean, some of them were okay. It's just that you could obviously do better with lists you made yourself from Army 6 anyway. I mean, some of them had like 8 regular orders and a irregular order, for example, 9 regular orders, so they didn't even fill out the full list. So, I mean, people hyped about them for a couple of days, and then we never heard from them again. Like, I never once heard from anybody who seriously considered actually running one of these competitively. So it was really just a novelty at the time. This time they've gone a little bit further and they've made the lists a little bit more competitive. So I've seen the occasional Facebook post recently of somebody like painting up some miniatures for them or talking about them a little bit. But generally, it's like everything with war games. The gaming company releases something, everybody hypes about and drools about it for like a day, and then it's just old news after that. The only things that really stand the test of time in this game is the stuff that actually works. We continually see people taking Toha with symbiomates, and we continually see these ninjas coming up, and we see very powerful link teams, and just when you look at lists that people run, they're run for efficiency. This is more, like I keep saying, a novelty. Anyway, rant completed. Let's get into the nitty gritty, the serious stuff. Okay, so I think there's like 5 different lists. List A is a Guija list, and normally you can't take the Guija in Imperial Service. And whenever we evaluate these lists, we're going to be talking about the special rules for Link Team. So this one allows you to have a combo of a Weibing, that's a sensor bot, and the Rishi, which is the MSV2 robot. So is there any point in linking them? So having these 2 bots linked together? Well, if you do use sensor to reveal the model with hidden deployment, the Rishi is very good at shooting it. So that is something. Also, if you're going on an attack run with your Rishi, you can also stop by and drop off the Weibing for button pressing if you can. My only sort of criticism here is that with 10 orders, you're really going to be coming up with a particular plan for the turn and really trying to accomplish quite a lot. So either you're going to be spending all of your orders trying to get the Rishi in a position to kill things, or you're going to be pressing buttons. It's not terrible. I mean, at least you can drop the Yao Kong off and then break the Link team and then do some shooting later. I'm not a huge fan of leaving some of your models halfway out in the battlefield because your opponent can more easily kill them later on. It's better to sort of move them up a little bit, press the buttons, and then come back a bit, or go back in a marker state if you've got it. So in terms of button pressing, yeah, the Weibing is kind of cool, and the fact it can link is kind of cool, but really, if you're comparing any of these closed battle lists to your regular list, which will just have a ninja in it, something like that, then there you go. So this already has the Canren in it anyway, and the Canren is probably what you're going to be using to press the buttons, because then you can go back into impersonation state with Cyber Mask, for example. The main link team in this one is a Crane, a Zanying, and 3 Celestial Guards. So your fire team core is going to have a boarding shotgun, Fort Observer, Quangshi control device, and a multi-sniper rifle. I like that because the sniper rifle, very effective in that 5-man link team, very good at long range since nothing else here is going to cover that. You've got the specialist in there, and obviously having that smoke grenade launcher in a 5-man link is brilliant. That's one of the better things in this game. The Zanying in particular is the one with the HMG, so at least you've got a BS-12 HMG to sort of do some damage with, and that's what's going to be attacking a lot of the time if you're not shooting with the Guija, that is. And then there's the Imperial Agent. The thing about the Imperial Agent here is that he's the multi-rifle version, which is not bad, but a assault hacking device. We're talking about a meta in which, recently they put out this Kernal guy for Onyx who can just shoot a repeater next to you and then hit you with a Maestro, and you go from 2 wounds to 0 straight away. Bakunin could already do that, basically. And some of these new mercenary factions also have like the Pitcher in the Link team with Killer Hacker. This guy's just trash in that sort of environment, as you can appreciate. Yeah, he's got the stat. Like he's a cool model, don't get me wrong. Like I think he's quite powerful, but with the hard counters being out there in such formidable form, I think this really lets down this list. The Guija, it's cool, it's novelty, yay. I mean, there's no engineer to pull him back out of the deep end if he gets into trouble, and there's not a lot there to protect him, so it's a bit gimmicky. This list is not one of the better lists that we'll be looking at, sadly. List B also has a Guija. This time the duo is between the Pheasant Rank and the Dakini TAC bot, so that's cool. So whenever I see something like a Dakini, I always look through the list to see whether there is a standard hacking device. Yes, so the Celestial Guard can put assisted fire on the Dakini with the multi-sniper rifle. That's cool. Like that is like a thumbs up for this list. That's awesome. The Pheasant Rank, so what has he got? He's the guy with the Red Fury and Chain of Command. So yeah, I like that because it keeps your lieutenant alive, but who is the lieutenant in this list? It's the Zanying with a missile launcher. Yeah, I can kind of see it. I mean, you can leave the Zanying out as an ARO piece, and 5-man link, that's all wonderful. Your opponent shoots the Zanying, and then your lieutenant switches over to the Pheasant Rank. But really, I mean, this link team in particular probably should have like an HMG or something. So you've got the missile launcher, 3 Celestial Guards, and a Sophotech. And the Celestial Guards themselves, you've got a hacker, boarding shotgun, and Sophotech. So the link team itself isn't equipped with something which can really murder people in the attacking turn in terms of bursts. So you'd be falling back on the Guija to do that. Again, there's no engineer in this particular list to help them out. The Pheasant Rank is not really being buffed by the duo, so that's a little bit of shame. I mean, Imperial Service, you guys know that he can actually be in a Haris team if he wants to. A lot of the time, though, this guy really won't have a Red Fury. He'll just be sitting around with like a boarding shotgun in terms of using Chain of Command. I mean, if your Zanying has died and he becomes a lieutenant, you're not really going to be wanting to go out and actually do some fighting, because then like you actually will be in loss of lieutenant, so that's not wonderful. Double Canren is kind of cool. I just wish one of these guys was the guy with the Mad Traps, because the Mad Traps are actually a lot better at defending the Guija against plays where people throw the smoke, come in with superior infiltration, and get into close combat with them and just wreck them. So the Mad Traps could be really useful, but unfortunately these guys don't have that. Don't think we even have a killer hacker in this list. Yeah. So we've got the standard hacker, no killer hacker. In terms of this being like a limited insertion list with 10 orders, yeah, I get it. You can make a really strong push in your first turn, but you don't really want to do that with the Guija, because he's going to get some good angles, he's going to get some kills, and he'll be stranded, and then he'll die. And in terms of the reactive turn, Yeah, you can put the Guija out and cover armor 8+3 for cover, so he's really good at being an ARO piece, but there's no engineer. So you can't sort of do that ultimate punishment to your opponent where they spend all of their orders finally getting him into unconscious state, and then you revive him. So that's just not possible in this list. So sadly, I'd really rather just play a normal Imperial Service list any day of the week. It just doesn't bring anything to the table. And although it allows you, a lot of these closed battle lists allow you some unique combinations. They're just not very interesting combinations in terms of fire teams. List C. So what do we get out of this? So the Sensabot can this time duo with the Sujian. So I like the Sujian. And the core fire team has got a Pheasant, Bow Troops, 3 Celestial Guards. Okay. So, yes. Limited insertion with the Sujian. Love it. Okay, so that guy can do work. You spend 10 orders on him directly. He goes out, gets some kills, climbs on top of a building or something like that, goes prone. Love it. So that already, is great for this list. Dropping the Weibing Yao Kong off, it's a little something, but it's not wonderful. It's not something to write home about. It's not like game-breakingly good or anything that he can be a duo. The Link team, Pheasant, Bow Troops, 3 Celestial Guards. So what have these guys got? Pheasant has the Red Fury. Okay, now I do have to say that I would quite like to try running the 5-man Link team with the Red Fury, because the Red Fury is a very powerful gun. Whenever my faction has access to a Red Fury, I often take it, whether it's in the form of Shishkin or Krakot Renegade with Red Fury or whatever. Really like that gun. And being in a 5-man Link, awesome. So there's that going for it. The MSV2 Sniper, again, really, really cool. I'm assuming that you can put smoke down with this list. Please tell me you can smoke. Celestial Guards don't have smoke. Okay, so that's a bit of a waste, really. I mean, you're taking a powerful MSV2 Trooper in a Link team, but you can't even fire smoke. So that's already a bit of a detracting thing about this list, sadly. It's also going to hurt the Sujian, because normally you're running like a 20-order list. One list has got the Sujian, the other list has got like a Link team with the Guangxi and the control device, and they can pop off smoke. So if he's going to be up against like a Swiss Guard missile launcher or something like that, you can put the smoke down if he appears, and then just get around him that way. So that's that. The Zuyongs, it's just a shame they're not in the Link team, because by themselves they're really kind of a little bit overcosted, a little bit naff. But if we could swap out the Pheasant or one of the Celestial Guards, I like the Red Fury in there, so keep the Pheasant in there. If we could swap out one of the Celestial Guards for a Zuyong, then I might be a bit more interested in this list, because then you've got like a Zuyong in a relatively cheap 5-man Link, but he's got the HMG there, so having the awesome bonuses, that would be cool. Agent, Imperial Agent, Crane Rank, multi-rifle, sensor, X-Visor, so pretty good stats, but again, we're talking about a sectorial that can normally take him in a Link team, so just leaving him out in the cold. I feel like you wouldn't spend that many orders on him, because most of the time you'd be activating the Sujian or the Link team itself, or even just the HMG for the good range ban. List D. Now, last time I looked at this was my favorite list. So you can create a Haris team with the Pheasant and Dakini and Celestial Guard. So let's just do the check again. Can we put... Oh, yeah, Zanyang Hacker. Okay, we can put assisted fire on the Dakini. So the Dakini can be assisted fire. So that's only a combi rifle, though. So even though he's getting +1 burst, so burst 4, ignoring cover, effectively shock ammo, it'd be better if it was an HMG or a sniper rifle. That's a shame. The Pheasant. So it's the Pheasant Red Fury again. Okay, cool. He's in a Harris team. I like that. And +1 Celestial Guard. Well, this is the smoke grenade launcher, so I'm liking that. Do we actually have any MSV2 in the list? Yeah, we do. There's a Cien Warrior, right? Okay. So, this is why this list is, getting to be more playable. What you can do is you can use the Harris team, use the Celestial Guard to put down smoke, and rather reliably, I must add, and then obviously you've got the Special Fire team, which has got the Cien Warrior in it. So that is interesting. This is the only thing in the game that we know so far that gets a powerful, like, heavy infantry MSV2 model into a 5-man Link, which is pretty crushing. So he's Blister Skill 17, he's in smoke, he's got 5 dice. If your opponent is clever, they will just put everything total cover, because this guy is just going to wreck in terms of the shootout. But having said that, again, a lot of opponents will just sort of understand what kind of list they're up against, will understand what kind of weaknesses you have here. And another weakness of running closed battle lists in general is that your opponent knows what's in the list because it's public information. Like everyone knows what the closed battle lists are, so your opponent knows exactly what's in your list. You may not know what's in your opponent's list, so that's a bit of a mismatch, if I can say. Still, Xian Warrior, awesome. Zhang Ying, what did he have again? He's the hacker. 2 Wu Ming. So the Wu Ming have the chain rifle submachine guns. Oh yeah, love that profile. It's super cheap. Submachine gun, awesome gun. And when it's on like a heavy infantry model in a 5-man link, that's cool. So I might give this list a go. I might play with it a little bit. I don't love it. I don't think it's superior to like the best Imperial Service list you can write normally, because you'd be wanting to take 8 Guangxi. You'd be wanting to take all of the stuff in like 20 order sort of context. But it's it looks cool. If you're going first, you might be able to spend 10 orders just rocking around the battlefield and cleaning up, doing so much damage to their important targets that after the end of it, you just basically leave the Xian Warrior and maybe the Wu Ming just looking at what's left of their deployment zone. So if they move out of cover with their few remaining units, they might get trashed by the superior firepower of the Xian Warrior. So I think that's cool. List E, we're back to the Guizha. This time we do have an engineer though. So what link teams can we create? A Harris, Pheasant, Engineer, Zhang Ying. So what have they got? It's the Red Fury again. And this time it's the missile launcher. The problem with the missile launcher, yeah, it's got 6 level 2, so it doesn't need the 4th man of the link. But the missile launcher, if you're going to leave him out as an arrow piece, he really needs to be able to, win the face-to-face rolls, or at least threaten to win them. But just with Blitzskull 12 and an extra dice, I'm not that confident that he's going to be great at doing that. Still, at least we've got the engineer in there. Do we have smoke? I don't think we have smoke in this list, so that is kind of a bit naff. And we've got the MSV2 Trooper as well. So special fire team, Bow Troops up to 3, Celestial Guards. Well, hang on. So there's only 1, 2, 3 Celestial Guards and a single Bow Troop. Does that mean you're going to do 4? So you can't even do a full fire team. Oh, this is really strange. So there's no 5-man link. Am I reading it wrong? So Harris, Pheasant, Zhang Ying, Mech Engineer, that's 3. Special fire team, Bow Troops, plus up to 3 Celestial Guards. And there's only 1 Bow Trooper. Yeah, you can only have 4-man link. Well, that's kind of lame. Well, in review, I think list D, the Xian Warrior, is in the range of maybe playable, and everything. All of the other lists are subpar. I'm not going to say they're completely garbage. I'm not going to say they're completely unplayable. I just think that you're at a disadvantage if you play them. Anyway, I have to give credit where credit is due. Corvus Belli have done slightly better than they did last time with the Pan-Oceania ones, but they're a company that often sets the bar low for a lot of the stuff they have to. So they just had to not trip over the very low bar that they set for themselves with this particular closed battle list mechanic. What I would like to see from them is lists which are almost at sort of halfway competitive but not broken. Remember, the list they're not going to be too powerful unless they're more powerful than like the Toha with Symbiote Mates lists or the Hakaslam lists with all the jammers. They're not going to be too powerful unless they're sort of above those ones, right? So what they can do is they can start putting more things in where they're linking up models which are genuinely effective together, and having the remaining models in the lists genuinely, supplement what's already in there. And actually create armies which have, quite a distinctly different playstyle and stuff that's already creatable in Army 6. Anyway, that has been a review of the Yuandun, or however you say it, for infiNity the game. And next week we'll come back to you with some bat reps.